Hi everyone, this is Jenny Clefman. I just wanted to give you a sneak peek at our progress report timeline and give you a little tour of the tracker so you feel comfortable and confident when you're completing it over the next 2 weeks. So we're able to do part of it this week, and then we'll have to wait to do the other part next week after the quarter is over. So for this week, there's 3 things you want to complete. You're going to fill in the student IDs and the names of your students. You're going to complete the columns with the green heading, and you're going to complete the columns with the yellow heading. So once all of that is finished, then what you're going to do is upload it to SharePoint. So hopefully by Friday, but if you have a busy week and you want to do it over the weekend, as long as I have it by Monday morning, then we're going to be fine. Okay? So let me show you what it looks like. So here you're going to complete the student IDs and the first and last name. Now we have tried to simulate it to what Christina has done for us before. However, we've tweaked it a little bit so it's a little bit more user-friendly for the learning coaches, so when they look at it, they'll know very clearly if they are compliant or not, and they're going to get some really good information about their student. So let me go ahead and just complete a fake one here so you can see what it looks like. You'll notice that the FERPA name populates for you, so you don't have to type that in. It is a formula, so don't type in this column. And now this green section is a new feature this year, and we're pretty excited about what it's going to communicate. So as teachers, we're working really hard at assessing them at the beginning of the year, and we're making decisions about their academic level. We group them, and we require all of these class connects. However, we don't really communicate that formally with the learning coaches. And so what we're going to do this year is let them know what their academic levels are and how many class connects that we are requiring. So you can see here, there's 3 choices. If you have grouped your student as basic or below basic, you're going to select below grade level. If you've grouped them as proficient, you're going to write on grade level. And if you've grouped them as advanced, you're going to select above grade level. So let's say my student is above grade level in math, and therefore I'm requiring 1 class connect a week. I did give you an option for none, just on those one-off situations where you are not requiring class connects. Okay, but then let's say that my student is below grade level for reading, and therefore I've put her in the below basic classes, and now she has to attend 4 class connects per week for reading. So what this does is it communicates to the learning coaches the relationship between their academic levels and our choices for class connects. It helps them to see the importance of attending Class Connect now that they know their student is functioning below grade level. And it's also going to help the learning coaches realize that we're very intentional about our decisions, that our assessments at the beginning of the year have a purpose, and that they're helping us drive our instruction, and that we're trying to support their students based on their academic levels. So hopefully that will be a really successful feature that we're adding. This next part in yellow is the other section that you're going to complete this week, and it's all about compliancies, so you're going to be able to complete all of this. The first 5 columns are really straight from your beginning of the year tracker, if you've tracked that. So if they attended your conference, if they did the quick check with you, if they did the Literably and the iReadies, it should be pretty straightforward. Now the way that we're tracking it for this particular tracker is with a 2, a 1, or a 0. So a 2 means compliant, a 1 means partially compliant, and a 0 means not compliant. And I'll show you why we're using numbers here in just a moment. So the way that I completed this really quickly, honestly, is I gave everybody a 2 at the beginning. I just filled it. You select it and you pull down, and then you can click fill down. And then I went back and checked who didn't do it, because I had almost everybody was compliant with this first section. So I could say, okay, this child did not do the iReady, and I didn't have a chance to connect with this parent before Class Connect started, so I didn't do the quick checks. And maybe I had 2 that didn't do Literably. So you can see that they're color coordinated. So if, let's say they started the iReady but never completed it, you could give them a partial if you wanted. So partial is going to show up yellow, and the non-compliant is going to show up pink. And then this last part of the yellow section is the Class Connect attendance and participation, and I know each grade level kind of decides what means they're compliant, partially compliant, or not compliant. So I know in 4th grade, last year what we did was if they came to 80% of the Class Connects, then they were compliant. If they came between 70 and 80%, they were partially compliant. But if they came less than 70% of the time, they were not compliant. So if they are compliant, you would give them a 2. If they're partially compliant, you give them a 1. And if they're not compliant, you give them a 0. Okay, and then this gray part is what we can complete next week. So what's going to happen on Monday, I'm going to take your tracker from SharePoint, and I'm going to go to the online school and pull the progress report and the attendance report, and I'm going to pull the Omni, and I'm going to put those as tabs at the bottom of your tracker. And we're going to take the start date from the Omni. That's going to help us know what the required amount of progress is and what the required amount of attendance is. So down below you'll see some tabs here, and it's going to show you in red if they're below the expected progress, or it's going to be white if they have met the expected progress. So you can make your own decision if you want to give them a 1 or a 0. If they are below that expected progress, they might be just a few percentage points behind, so you might think about giving them a 1. So that's going to be up to you. So you're just going to complete all of that in these columns here. And then, so let's say mine is compliant with this stuff and partially with that, not with that, and yes, with this. So then I would come over here, and you can just quickly look and see what things are yellow and pink, and I would recommend making comments about the yellow and pink items, because that's what you're going to get questions about anyway. So you might as well do it. And you might also want to say some positive comments about the things that they're doing well. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like when we go to the progress report. It's the same thing as what we've done before, where we put the student ID number here, and then everything populates. And here's the reason why we use numbers, because we wanted to use an icon that made it very clear if they were compliant, partially compliant, or not compliant for this section. You can see here that the compliancy section is separate from the student mastery level, because we want the learning coaches to start to take ownership for their student being compliant. So here is where they're going to be able to see if their student is below or on grade level or above grade level, and what that means for the required interventions. And then we have a big section here for comments. So what you're going to do after you complete the teacher input tab, then what you want to do is come here and one at a time put the student ID number in, take a screenshot of the area that's in blue, and you're going to email that to the learning coach. And at the bottom of the email, I would recommend checking save as a note. That way you'll find it in the notes section as well as it's getting emailed to the learning coaches. You do not need to put this in SharePoint in the cumulative folders, so yay for that. But we want to definitely make sure the parents are aware if they are compliant or not. And you'll also have that online school progress and attendance tracker here at the bottom. So if they do have questions and say, my student was definitely up to date in science, then you have a record of it not being compliant. So you can show that to them. Okay, so if you have any questions at all as you're completing this, then just feel free to email me or call me. That's perfectly fine. So now next week what we're going to do, like I said, I'll be putting the progress and attendance on your tracker, and I'm going to upload it back on and let you know when it's ready for you, and then you have several days to complete the remaining columns. And then November 9th is when we're going to be emailing those out to the families. All right, let me know if you have any questions.